Welcome, terraformers, to this episode of Planet Crafter Tips and Tricks. They're not really tricks, more like suggestions, really. We're starting a new game, a new planet, if you will, so press play, and then click on New Game. You're going to name your save file, and then go to the drop-down menu for Game Mode. This really should be named Difficulty because that's what we're changing. You have a relaxed mode where dying has no consequences, except it sends you back to the last base you visited. Oxygen, health, and hydration decrease slower. Standard is the base mode of the game, where your oxygen, health, and hydration decrease at the default rate, and when you die, some of your items are dropped. Those items will be in a crate at the location of your death. Intense means everything you're carrying is destroyed, and your oxygen, health, and hydration decrease faster. Hardcore is for our masochist friends, where your oxygen, health, and hydration decrease even faster, and your save file is deleted when you die. Creative mode is as expected, and custom is where things get fun, so we'll select custom and check out what that means. Since we're customizing our settings, I'm going to select custom for the game mode. Next, we go to landing site. The map for this game does not change. It is the same for every playthrough for every player. However, if you've already played this game, changing up your landing site can provide a different experience. If you've never played before, then just stick with the default location. But if you're like me and want to be different just for the sake of being different, then choose any of these. I think I went with random for my first playthrough. If you choose random, this location will be one of the locations on this list, chosen at random by the game. The next menu is where you can change the consequences of death. Here you can customize the difficulty level and choose what happens when you die. The next 4 sliders allowed you to adjust the pace of the game. You can change the rate of the terraformation or the rate at which your oxygen, health, and hydration deplete. You can also change how frequently meteor showers occur, as well as how much energy your machines consume. The terraformation rate can also be changed based on how many other players are helping you out. The right side contains quality of life adjustments that can really make things easier. Free build is like creative mode, where materials aren't required for building and crafting. You can unlock all of the recipes without having to research them. You can have certain late game machines unlocked. You can enable space trading. Finally, you can have it randomize your ores. This means that the resources that you would normally find at the beginning of a playthrough will consist of every resource available in the game. For example, iridium is usually only found in shipwrecks, caves, chests, and some meteor showers. When ores are randomized, iridium is now as plentiful as any other resource and can be picked up off the ground just like cobalt or iron. When you first start, you're going to want to pick up everything because you need to build everything. At least everything in the crafting station and your escape pod and in the tutorial list. The first 7 items in the crafting station are required to survive and required to build what you need to terraform the planet. You can't build anything without resources, so just start picking them up. Don't worry about where to put them, because you're just going to head back to your pod and start building things. In the crafting station, build what you can with what you have. Check the other items to see what resources are needed, then head back out to get those. Once you've built the oxygen tanks and backpack, go into your inventory and place them each in one of the 4 slots on the right. These are the tech slots for your spacesuit. The crafting station has 3 microchips. One is for construction, one is for destruction, and the third is a torch or light. I recommend you not insert the torch chip yet. The other 2 are more important for now. Keep the torch chip handy because you can swap them out as needed. When you're out and about, you're going to come across supply crates. Once you've emptied them, I suggest you always deconstruct them. I can't tell you how many times I've come across a crate and got all excited, only to find that I had already emptied the crate. If you deconstruct them as soon as you empty them, there's no chance of disappointment later on. Space is cold. Planets that don't have an atmosphere are cold. Your planet doesn't have an atmosphere yet. It also has a lot of ice. As you start to warm up your planet, that ice is going to melt. When you're thinking about building a base, you're going to want to get high. I don't know for sure, but I think most starting locations in this game are at a lower altitude. That water is going to pool, and if your base is not high up, it's going to be underwater. How about we go stake our claim on that high mesa that we saw earlier and get our base started? Before we get too far away from our pod, we're going to gather 3 iron, 2 titanium, and 1 silicon. These are the materials needed to build a living pod and a door. I always leave the house with these materials because shit happens. You forgot to bring an extra oxygen capsule, or you're checking out a shipwreck and you don't want to go all the way back home to free up inventory space, and there's still so much good loot here. I'm going to get a little higher up and look for a nice spot. I'll throw down my little mini base and not have to worry about oxygen. And if we grab an extra iron and silicon, we can give it a crafting station. When deconstructing these pods, here's a tip from experience. Deconstruct the door from the outside. It seems obvious, but it's happened. Seriously, lots of folks on Reddit say they've done it. I'm not the only one. While we're here, I'll throw in a bonus quick tip. When first starting, build lots of turbines. Everything besides the living pod require energy to function, and turbines only cost 1 iron. Shipwrecks or abandoned bases are where I like to build a mini base. It's great for offloading and replenishing oxygen. These structures are really dark, and it's very easy to get turned around and straight up lost. You're going to want to make sure your torch microchip is installed in your suit. Make sure you've also got your deconstruction chip as well, because you definitely want to break down empty chests here. Early on in this game, every brown rock looks like the last brown rock, and every mountain will obscure sight of familiar structures. If you get lost without food, water, and oxygen, you're a goner. And what about that iridium cave you found? Are you able to find it again? Caves are just holes in the base of mountains that you can only really see when you're standing in front of them. Beacons. Put a beacon next to your base and at the mouth of that iridium cave, and the beacon will show up on your screen from all the way across the map. You can change the color of the marker and give it a name so you know exactly what is where. Golden chests are supposed to be better than regular storage chests. They have better stuff, right? They're hard to find, right? Well, yes, they're hard to find. But are the contents really that great? I'm undecided. For me, the accomplishment comes from finding one. I can do without the rocket effigy that looks like a penis. But I am very grateful that you've watched this video. I'm also grateful that you may have watched other videos of mine. And I'm grateful that you're considering subscribing to my channel. As a token of gratitude, here's a list of coordinates for golden chests. Is this all of them? I have no idea. If I find others, I'll let you know. Cheers.